It was raining hard that night, the kind of rain that turns the streets into rivers and washes away the pride of even the strongest souls. Daniel, a single dad with tired eyes and a heart heavy from years of betrayal, was hurrying home with a bag of cheap groceries in one hand and his little daughter, Lily, clutching the other. Life hadn't been kind to him, his wife had left without warning, his best friend had stolen his business, and now he was working 2 jobs just to keep a roof over their heads. As they rounded the corner toward their worn-down apartment, Daniel saw her. She was crouched under a dim streetlight, soaked to the bone, her clothes torn, her hands trembling as she tried to cover herself with a plastic bag. People passed by without so much as a glance, but Lily tugged at Daniel's sleeve and whispered, "Daddy, she's cold." Daniel's first instinct was to keep walking. Life had already given him more weight than he could carry. But then he looked into the woman's eyes. There was something in them, not just hunger or exhaustion, but a quiet dignity, like a fire that refused to die no matter how fierce the storm. Without thinking, he took off his own coat and draped it over her shoulders. "You'll freeze out here," he said. "Come on. You can stay at our place for the night." She hesitated, clearly not used to kindness, but finally nodded. That night, over a bowl of instant noodles, she introduced herself as Emily. She spoke little about her past, only saying life had taken everything from her. Still, she helped wash the dishes, tucked Lily into bed, and thanked Daniel as if he'd given her the world. Days turned into weeks, and Emily became part of their little household. She cooked, laughed with Lily, and even helped Daniel fix his old, sputtering truck. But as their friendship grew, so did whispers in the neighborhood. "Why's Daniel letting some beggar live with him? He's desperate, that's all." Daniel ignored them. He had learned the hard way that people will always talk. One evening, Emily found Daniel sitting alone, staring at an unopened envelope. It was from the bank, another foreclosure warning. "You've been carrying this burden alone," she said softly. "Let me help." Daniel chuckled bitterly. "Emily, you don't have a dime to your name." She looked at him for a long moment, her expression unreadable. "Daniel, what if I told you that's not true?" He thought she was joking until the next morning when 3 black luxury cars pulled up outside his apartment. Men in suits stepped out, bowing slightly to Emily as she emerged from the door. Daniel stood frozen, Lily's small hand gripping his. Emily turned. Daniel didn't know whether to laugh or cry as he looked at Emily standing there, holding Lily's tiny hand, waiting for his answer. The world around him felt like it had stopped, no sound, no movement, just the pounding of his own heart. "Yes," he finally whispered, his voice trembling. "Yes, Emily. I'll marry you." Lily squealed and threw her arms around them both. Emily's eyes glistened, but she smiled through her tears. The suited men, who had been standing stiff and formal moments ago, suddenly broke into applause. Even the neighbors who once whispered behind their backs now watched in awe. Life after the wedding was like stepping into a dream Daniel never dared to dream. Their new home was warm, filled with laughter and the smell of Emily's cooking. Daniel didn't feel like a guest in her world. Emily made sure of that. She stood beside him in every decision, invested in reopening his old auto repair shop, and insisted that Lily's school fees were paid for the next 10 years. But not everything was perfect. Wealth came with shadows. Old friends who had abandoned Daniel now came knocking, hoping to benefit from Emily's fortune. The same people who had sneered at Emily in her worst days now tried to act like they had always been close. One night, Daniel found Emily sitting alone on the balcony, staring at the city lights. "It's strange," she said quietly. "People think money makes you powerful, but sometimes it just makes you lonelier." Daniel took her hand. "Then we'll make sure this home is different. No matter how much money comes or goes, we'll keep our hearts exactly where they were that first night." Months passed, and together they launched the Harrington and Hayes Foundation, named after both of them, to support single parents and the homeless. Emily told her story publicly for the first time, how she'd walked away from her empire to find real connections, and how a single dad's simple act of kindness had given her more than money ever could. The charity became a success, but the true victory was in the small moments, the look on Lily's face when she aced her spelling test, the quiet dinners on rainy nights, the way Emily and Daniel would still sit on the couch and watch old movies in worn pajamas despite the mansion they now lived in. And every year, on the anniversary of the night they met, Emily would put on the same coat Daniel had given her when she was shivering under that streetlight. "This," she would say, "is where it all began. Not the money, not the wedding, just one act of kindness from a man who didn't owe me anything." So if you're hearing this story now, remember life can change in a single moment. One act of compassion can bring you the love, family, and purpose you never imagined. If this touched your heart, hit the like button and subscribe. Because you never know, the next story might just change the way you see the world forever.